When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers. In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice.
Words from Donald Trump this week signaling the shift on policy when it comes to the auto industry south of the border. Now, with all of that, of course, we have this looming trade war, tariff war, whatever you want to call it, between the United States and Canada. It is our tremendous pleasure to welcome Flavio Volpe back onto the program. Flavio is someone that has been at the table in the big discussions between the U.S. and Canada on trade, whether it's the new NAFTA deal or now. Flavio's been at the table. Of course, he's president of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association, so he knows this issue inside and out. In fact, he was booked for our show yesterday, but last-minute urgent meeting on these subjects. He's also on the Council on Canada-U.S. Relations the Prime Minister just announced. Flavio, thank you so much for coming on to the program this morning.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for accommodating me yesterday. They change every minute.
I guess that maybe should be something I ask, actually. What happened yesterday? I mean, an urgent meeting. I guess things really are urgent right now.
Well, in as much as I can share it, the president decided, or there was a reporting out of Wall Street Journal late the night before that perhaps he's looking to pull forward the USMCA, the new NAFTA renegotiations a year. So there was a lot of pressure early yesterday to say, what are those implications? What does it mean? How does that happen? And we got through that, I think, through yesterday's new news, and let's see what happens tomorrow's new news. What I always say to everybody is, let's not panic. He writes executive orders with instructions to government. I think those are the things that you need to really pay attention to. But if we chase every day's whim, we're going to have a problem.
And that point is very taken, right? Not to panic. But I'm also looking at some news headlines. I'm looking at news from Stellantis that they're going to restart an Illinois plant that production was stopped at. They've announced the new Durango is going to be built in Detroit. And I'd heard murmurs that that production was going to come to Canada. I'd love to know your thoughts if we are seeing, slowly yet surely, reaction from the auto world that favors the U.S. over Canada.
That report was wrong. The Durango was never coming to Canada. In fact, the Brampton plant where Stellantis is retooling for a smaller SUV that has electrified options. But this is the environment that we're working in. When he creates that pressure, people have immediate reactions, and I think there was a quick national debate almost online last night about whether it's already working and whether he's dropped us. Right? He hasn't, but it's important minute to minute here to make sure that people like me who have the news right are able to turn around and correct the record so that it doesn't add to the anxiety in the system.
And I'm wondering, about making the case and what the case that is being made right now to U.S. officials. In my mind, if you target Windsor, Ontario, you're going to hurt Detroit, Michigan in the same process. But I wonder about the arguments that are being made to stave off some of the stuff that's being bandied about.
I think you've got that exactly right. Somebody asked me in the scrum when I was at the cabinet meeting on Tuesday, should we get a carve out for Ontario Should we get a carve-out for automotive because it's so sensitive? And I said, no. Actually, if you hit the Ontario car sector, you immediately affect the Michigan automotive sector. I mean, that day. If we're making cars in Oshawa, then we're getting 30, 40, 50% of the parts from plants in Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois. And, we're getting our steel in Pennsylvania, and we're getting our resins in Texas. We don't need a carve-out because there's no lag between the problem it causes for us and the problem it causes for Americans. We should keep all of our potential cards in Canada's hands and play this from the center. I truly believe that. There are other sectors that have a lag between, action from the White House, hurt in Canada, and then potential hurt a couple months out in the U.S. None of us should be asking for a carve-out right now. But we should all be demanding that the federal government, who's going to do that negotiation, understand that no one sector or region in this country should also disproportionately carry this load. We should make them whole.
We're with Flavio Volpe, who was recently named to the Prime Minister's Council on Canada-U.S. Relations. Now, Flavio, we had one of your fellow council members, Jean Charest, on the program just a couple of days ago. One of the things that I asked him about was, the threats of withholding our oil and our electricity, right? And there have been some people who are saying, oh, this is a good idea. I've heard some people say this is a crazy idea. And I wonder how you view the position that we're in right now, where it seems like we're boxed into a corner because it seems like the U.S. is the only place where we can get our oil exports to. So are we in a bad negotiating position, perhaps because of decisions we've made over the last decade about our natural resources?
No, I think that's a real question to ask, but I think we should also remember that none of us model for a U.S. president that is ready and eager to disrupt his own markets, his own suppliers, his own government in a way that Donald Trump has. You'll see that the reaction, even in the U.S., has been very muted over the last week or so. Like, where are the Democrats that ran against him? Where are the industries? Where's the voice of manufacturers who are going to get affected by having to buy inputs from Canada, whether that's electricity and oil or raw materials? He's got everybody on their heels. But I expect, as everybody does the math, they're going to see that the best path forward is to actually push back. In the U.S., what will happen is, he thinks he sells it as tariffs that Canadians will pay. It actually gets on the bill for a consumer in the U.S. So if you raise the price on everything that gets imported in the U.S. from Canada, Mexico, and then presumably everybody else, it'll be American consumers that are going to feel that inflation, and they're going to see that their dollar goes a lot shorter than it used to. And you can't be. John Charest said something very important at that Canada-U.S. session. He said, you can't have a growth agenda and then raise the price of everything for everybody. These things are at odds with each other. I thought that was quite wise.
Do you think that there's a lot of bluster here, perhaps for an ulterior motive? Donald Trump said it at one point this week. It's not about trade. It's about fentanyl. And I wonder if the council right now is listening to that message and saying, "Oh, geez, maybe this is an easier fix than a lot of people are saying."
I don't know about that. If it was an easy fix, we wouldn't have seen 100+ executive orders from the president going in every single direction from the White House into every single segment of American society and against all their allies and adversaries. We've got to learn that he's not going to change and he's not going away, and we need to understand that we're in a marriage that we don't want to leave, but maybe the other partner does, and you have to start kind of acting with that premise in mind. So,
and what I'm hearing from you, Flavio, is we got to be calm here.
Yeah.
But your last answer gives me tons of worry about how we'll end up. You know what I mean? So I'm like, wait a minute, how do I stay calm based on what you just said?
Yeah, but you know what? Even in that scenario, you don't panic. You know, you've got to figure out whether are we in a post-free trade world with the U.S. Is this a permanent shift? And if it is, then how would you act if that was the case? Especially since you can't you can't walk away. We live next door, and I do think that the lesson that we learned from the first time around is he says a lot of stuff. And then when you get down to the table, it is about math and science. And if we don't react to all of the goading language, like, you know, I keep using the example, you know, during 1.0, he accused Ted Cruz's father of killing JFK. Well, we didn't run around investigating that.
Yeah.
You know, we knew that what he wanted to do was put a bunch of people on their heels. You know, be calm in the chaos. Accept that it'll be chaotic and that maybe we can wear that down a little bit. I mean, one of the things that this country does have is resolve. And I don't care where you are on the political spectrum or where you are in the country. You know, we are people who suffer through winters. You know, there is a resilience to us, and this is a winter.
Mm-hmm. And we look forward to the spring. Flavio, thank you so much. It's tremendous always to get your perspective with your seat at all of these tables. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. Anytime.
Flavio Volpe is president of the Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association and, of course, on this new council on Canada-U.S. relations.